Hello. If you're watching this video, that means you've finished and checked over the things that you needed from yesterday because the video wasn't up and running. So we've already looked at tables, we looked at graphs, we've looked at equations, and we actually have looked at verbal descriptions. So the key here is you need to find the unit rate, the constant change, the constant proportionality. That's all three the same things. So in order to do that, and I'm going to do one of these here for you, we need to do a division problem. So over here, I'm going to look at this and I'm going to say, when I was sewing, I could make 12 masks in 24 hours. So I want to figure out, a logical thing here to me is, how many masks can I make in an hour? So I'm going to do masks per hour. Or I could do hours per mask. So it kind of depends up with you. So how long does it take me to make one mask? Let's do it that way. Let's do 24 divided by 12, and I'm going to get 2. If I do it that way, my equation is going to be y equals 2 times x. Right? If I do it a different way, and I did it this way, I did 12 over 24, this will be masks per hour. So 12 divided by 24 would be 0.5 mass per hour. So I could also write it 0.5 x. So it doesn't matter which way you do it. However, your equation would be different because the equation is based off of your unit rate, or your constant change, or your constant proportionality. Now, we also know that our unit rate is always out of 1. So you know that when you come over here, if we were using 2 for our unit rate, we would put our 2 here. If we were using 0.5 for our unit rate, we would put our 0.5 there. And I'm going to put that in a different color so it doesn't start to confuse us. But either one of those is correct. Now, that being said, if it's a proportional relationship, we also know that it has to be 0, 0. So at this point, now we're going to continue the pattern. Well, the constant change is 2, right? So 2 divided by 2 is 1. So if I do 1 times 2, I could get back to 2. So now I can multiply 2 times 2 and get 4, 3 times 2 and get 6. If I was doing 0.5, again, it would still be 0. And now 1 is 0.5. That means 2 would be 1, and that 3 would be 1.5. Now I'm going to use this to make my graph. So I'm going to zoom this in just a little bit more. So what I need to do is I'm going to do 2 lines here, one for the red numbers and one for the blue. So I'm going to do red first, which is unit rate of 2. So now you only have to do one of these equations and one of these sets of numbers over here in your table, because you're only going to draw one line. I'm going to do 2 lines because it just depends on what unit rate you found. It could be marked either way. So some people might have different lines and they're still correct. So if I'm going with the red one, 0, 0 is right there. If I go to 1 on the x-axis and up to 2, it's there. If I go to 2 on the x-axis, I'm off the chart already, and now I just connect these 2 dots, and that's my line. If I'm doing the blue one, again, I'm going to do 0, 0. I'm going to go 1, sorry, I'm going to go 1.5, which is there, but somewhere in between, no, sorry, this one goes by 0.5s, so it's going to be right there. If I go 2, I'm going to be on 1. If I go 3, I'm going to be on 1.5. So my line could look like that. So what you're going to do today for this is you're going to find your unit rate, fill in your table, write your equation, use your table to make your graph. Now, when you look at this one, just a little hint, they've given you your unit rate. So I'm going to X this one out. I'm not asking you for to write a description here. All right, don't need you to do that. But what you do here with your unit rate is you have to put it in your table, and then you have to fill your table in, and then you have to graph your line based on your table. Now, this last one here, you have to write an equation, and you have to fill in your table. So when you do your equation, what you need to look at here is you need to look at what your unit rate should be and how do we find a unit rate on a graph. Well, let's go up here and look at our graph. Well, we know our unit rate in our equations is 0.5 and 2. So if you want to find a unit rate in a graph, well, look at 2 over here in our table and look at 0.5 in our table, which is over here. I'm going to erase that now. The x value is 1. So whenever you want to find a unit rate in your table, go to that 1 on the x-axis, and you can go up or down to your unit rate. So in this case, if I was looking for the unit rate on the red line, it's right there. The blue line is right there. So now when you come down here, the first thing you need to do is you need to go to one on your x-axis and come down to your unit rate. So another way that you could do this is you could also use the values that are in there. And for all intents and purposes, we're going to say that's 3. And we're going to say this is on -5. Okay? So I know it's probably not accurate as to what it would be, but they would be, that's not -5. They're in between those lines. So it's not exactly where it needs to be, but this value on this point is -3, and this value on that point is -7 when you're looking at y values. So at that point, you should be able to, actually, that is at -7. Let me change this line here. I didn't make this line, and I'm just realizing now that it's not exactly what it needs to be. So I want to draw the line a little bit more accurately. I don't know if I can get a straight line here for you guys. So let me just show you something here. I'm going to do it this way. So when you come down here, that one's going to be -3, and this one should be on -6. So that should help you out, okay? And remember, you have to start at 1 on the x-axis to find your unit rate. So the unit rate is going to be key in everything here. Now, this is not graded. This is going to be one of those assignments that's out of 0 points. So if you get it all right, you'll get a 0 out of 0. If you don't, I'll put feedback on it for you to fix it, okay? So again, you can play this video as much as you want, and what's the most important here is you find your unit rate. We're going to be working on this next week because this is where we're going next. We're tying everything in together. Again, if you have questions, you can email and I will respond to you.